Hmm? Ah! Oh.
Podcastica.
My name is Alex.
And I'm Lizzie.
And today we have a special episode of From Cast and our special guest, which is Scott, aka Victor. How the heck are you, Victor? I mean, Scott.
Scotty, please, my good friends, Lizzie and Alex, call me Scotty.
You got it.
Yeah, man. Hey, things are good. Life is good.
Scotty!
I'm here. We were just talking about the weather. The weather. Hi, Lizzie. The weather here. You're in Jersey, Alex. I'm here in Brooklyn, and the weather is outstanding today. We're now in the full break of spring. It feels
You
really
got
good.
it.
You know.
So we got to meet you at the junket, and
Yeah.
first off, how have you felt? Because Victor has just become this small character that wasn't even supposed to be in season 2, all the way to today, where you're one of the focal guys. How does it feel? And what did you think when you heard the news?
Uh, uh, well, I'll start with how does it feel? It feels great, and I feel incredibly blessed. And I'm not one who's, say superstitious or necessarily believes in luck, but if there's one time in my life that I would describe it like that, it feels lucky, because the part that they created, as you guys know, is he was this I knew he had this mystery character, this enigma, that in the first season, was only really in a handful of scenes over the stretch of the season, but brought so much in terms of the what what might be happening in this place, and a little bit of the history of the place, and then we find out that he's lived there the longest, of course. So um, uh, I was really excited in the beginning to get the part, of course, because I got to play an enigma, which to me as an actor, any actor, it's sort of like, how do you play an enigma? And that still is an ongoing and incredible journey. And I have the gift of John Griffin's creation and the writing. I mean, there's been several writers now that have worked on From. John's driving it. Jeff, these guys just keep giving me so much to do. So to see it go from that, and it's funny too. I'll tell you guys at the beginning of this all, I remember before I started and I can't even remember if I had been cast yet, but when there had been some interest in me playing the part, there was this whisper that he wouldn't survive the season necessarily. So I remember going for a stretch before I started where I thought, I'm going to, if I get this thing, I'm going to pop into Halifax and shoot this really cool little part. I don't really know what it is, but great. Don't really know a lot about the show because they didn't tell us a lot about the show itself and what was happening. And then as we were moving through the season, of course, right? And I came in later than everybody else. I came in during another block, and even like weeks and weeks later after they had already started. It was a mysterious time for me to be there because I was connecting with some of the other cast members. Liz Saunders, of course, and I, became pals. We all did, but I never had scenes with groups of people. I never had scenes with, some of the other residents of the town. I was always either with Ethan so it was a really mysterious time for me because I was always coming in and going, how's the show going? What's going on? What are the other, what's everybody else doing? And anyway, so really interesting journey that first season. But then of course we landed on episode 10 and I crack open the script and I see that I'm in the caves, where we've left off and where we're kicking off this season. And I'm coming out and getting Tabitha. I thought, oh, whew, I made it. It looks like I made it,
For the moment.
I had a feeling, yeah, for the moment. And then I came home and I thought, well, I suppose they could always kick off, the next season with, us finding a boulder on top of Victor and just this little lunchbox sticking out from underneath it or something, you don't know. But I got the news. I think it was just around the holidays, about several weeks after we'd finished that I was going to get bumped up to a regular, and I'm still, I'm still celebrating that. I feel so incredibly lucky to have that opportunity to do that, and I do get it as far as he just is who he is. They've created something that he just is the key to the past of that place, or it appears to be. And there is this idea that he knows more or sees more or experienced more, certainly from living there. So yeah, as the mystery unfolds, it's almost like you kind of need somebody. You need Victor there to kind of represent that part of it all in the mystery. It feels great. It feels great. And now I'm sitting here with you beautiful people. Look at this.
Who knew? Lizzie, I
Who
know
knew?
you have a couple of questions.
Oh
So
my God, you're so gracious.
Aw,
So
you guys are amazing.
I have to say, this one of my prized possessions. I love this.
I have
Love
one
it.
too. It's in the
I mean,
back.
part of it is I was old enough to carry one of these to school. So that's part of it. Yeah.
Me
Yeah.
too. Don't be fooled by my super young looks. I'm not really 30.
Well, young man, I heard there's
Neither
a
am
birthday
I.
that you had.
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
I just celebrated 52.
Yeah,
this week.
I'm this year too, 52. So we're the same.
Hey,
you look a
happy
lot better
birthday.
than me. I got to tell you that. But that's a whole different conversation.
Well,
But Liz, I know you,
God,
you're
I'm
looking
the
good.
old lady here then. I'm 57. But I don't
That's a
feel
grand
it. Anyway,
57, Lizzie.
yeah, I'm doing okay. So
You're doing okay.
I am gonna do mini spoiler here, but I just don't.
Yeah.
I mean, the show's coming out Sunday, and it's not that. It's not that bad. I want to go to the first episode, which is all Alex and I allowed ourselves to watch,
Oh, yeah.
because I just want to be in real time.
That you
So
got, let me tell you how disciplined you are. That is incredible that you guys are doing that, because I know you guys are fans of the show. Bless you.
yeah,
Uh,
thank you.
no, my wife for the last several weeks has been like, when are you getting screeners? Like there's
Oh
she's
my
like,
God.
she's like, we gotta get through this. The first time her and I
Yeah.
sat down and watched this, and I hadn't seen a frame of it. I didn't do any ADR last year. I hadn't seen anything. I think we watched
Wow.
4 or 5 episodes in a row the same day. My wife was like,
Yeah.
another one,
Yeah.
So
That's how
listen,
I am.
you guys have incredible discipline. That must be hard. You're holding on to 4 other juicy episodes there.
I'm trying to forget
It
about
is.
it, so I don't think it's there. Honestly, that's the
I
only way I could do it.
Yeah, I think it's because I'm 57 and I'm not leaving here until I'm 96. So I know I have
Yes.
time.
You got some time, Lizzie.
So yeah, I've got plenty of time. So my question is, in
Yeah.
my utmost compliment,
Mhm.
but in the caverns, when you see the monster that's dressed in work clothes, Victor shuts down, like he's leading the way, insistent that they get there, and he sees this one monster and just crumbles. My heart was broken for him.
Mm.
All I can think of is that it was his father or something like that. I was maybe the monsters move around when they sleep and you hadn't seen him the other time that you'd been through there.
Right.
But I just have to tell you, Scotty, that was amazing. Like,
Oh, thanks so much,
when
Liz.
a performance can evoke emotion from the viewer, like I'm just like, woo, I'm not worthy, but it
Oh,
was
Lizzie.
amazing.
Stop it. I like it.
It's like and then when you were like this,
Yeah, that's
but
right.
just I mean, if you've been listening to the podcast, I work on set and I work with kids, and sometimes you just cannot come right out of that emotional place that you're in. And I go back to one of the most incredible experiences I had was second season Stranger Things, when Noah Schnapp was filming all those incredibly emotional scenes. He would be on set, they'd send him to school for 20 minutes, and he's supposed to be learning French, and he would just be like, and we would just watch him. No, and then send him back to work.
And he would just get there.
You
He would
don't
just get
have
there
to
every
do
time.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that
I think
kid,
it's thank you so much, first of all, for that. That moment was, again, another great key for Victor,
yeah,
and I'll even say this much for you guys, because this isn't spoiling anything, is I wasn't given a lot of context about that particular moment either. It was just that, and it is written that way, like that Victor literally crumbles, and the whole thing. And yeah, I mean, I think now, having, I don't want to say I'm getting too comfortable with it, but like, we're all, I think Liz was talking about this recently too. Liz Saunders was saying, like, we're in our bodies, on set now. We've got these people, like, the groundwork has happened. So now I know for myself, getting thrown an opportunity like that to go in and explore the core of this guy and what that is, was an amazing challenge, and one that I certainly, just in my own work, I did a lot of prep for, and then, just had to do that thing where I let it go, and I go in, and I have the beauty of working with, first of all, one of my favorite scene partners and one of my best friends, Catalina. She was in the scene with me,
yeah,
and there's a beautiful relationship there developing right between those two.
yeah.
And Jack Bender was right there, and
Oh, really?
we're in this set of these caves, and it's dank and it's dark, and we're trying to figure all this stuff out. And that's certainly all the design of that place, all those elements really feed you as well. And then the moment is there, and yeah, I just remember that being a good day, shooting all that stuff. With everything over the season was great, but that stuff in the caves, as challenging as that can be sometimes, just because of how small it is, and the camera guys are like scraping their heads on the top of the tunnel, and this sort of thing is
Was
going
that
on.
all constructed? Was that all
Yeah,
constructed? Oh,
yeah,
wow.
there was, like, I don't even know how long it was. I want to say it was over 100 feet. There was just tunnels we went into the studio, and these guys had completely constructed that
Yeah.
labyrinth,
It's
and
Alex,
beautiful,
I
beautiful
wish you
job.
could see a set sometimes, because what these people create are
Yeah.
works of art, and they
Yeah, they
bring them
really are.
together,
Yeah.
and then they take them apart piece by piece,
Mhm.
and that goes off another set. They turn it
Yeah.
into something else, but
Yeah,
like,
for Christmas,
I
Scotty, we
would
want to
just be
get her
going
on
to
set.
the sound stages.
Yeah.
What's that?
That's the goal. I said for
Did you hear
Christmas,
that,
I'm going to
Lizzie?
try to
What
get,
did you just say?
for Christmas, I want to get you on set. Maybe she's frozen.
What did you say? Oh, did you hear that?
I was there.
Exactly. I have her as
Oh,
frozen, but I'm just
am
going
I really frozen?
No,
I
it's
am
me.
one
It's me.
cold bitch.
You are.
It's always you.
It's
I
always
still
you.
love you, Lizzie.
Oh, and now Scotty's.
No, Scotty's always fine.
Am I freezing?
No, you're not. We are. We actually are professionals sometimes.
You did for a second, or maybe it was just me.
So that said, when you're getting
Not
into Victor,
here though. Not here.
when you're getting into Victor,
Yeah.
what's your process? Because I know you're a big actor studio guy. You've been in that. It was one of my favorite shows. I'm not going to ask you the end of the show questions, I promise. But are you like, what's your process in terms of that? In terms of trying to get into Victor?
Yeah, it's what it is for me is it's just sort of a series of, I would say, techniques or exercises, things that I did that I had to find, and I'm still finding that in working, especially in television, which moves pretty quickly. I mean, Lizzie knows that as well.
Yeah.
You just find these little keys, I'm always trying to go towards the core of this guy, and I'm always trying to be as truthful as possible because, Victor does, as this enigma and the sort of work that I am doing that I found organically, I really wanted to make him his own creature of this place, and still a person at the same time. I mean, still a human. I mean, it is a study of human life in these circumstances. So it's just like a series of things that I can do. I mean, I don't want to give away all my secrets, but even right down to, just certain things that can get me emotionally connected. Like, in that particular scene, there was a lot of stuff about mother in there for me, because that's developing with Catalina, being left alone. There was some really accessible things there emotionally that I thought, here's a moment where we're going to see some, it's written in the script and they want to see some of this rawness in him because he was abandoned, abandoned as a result of a massacre. And then lived alone in that place for a long time. This is stuff that I'm still experimenting with and playing it, so, and it just depends. And on any given day too, it depends on the scenes. Sometimes, it depends on who I'm playing with. If I'm with Simon, the one thing I really like doing with Simon, because him and I already have a natural rapport. One thing that we do that I think is kind of fun is we stay connected by doing things like we play chess in between setups and stuff, or just stuff like that I feel like keeps us talking and connected. And then sometimes Simon and I are like, he's so great, guy, I love him so much. We improvise our way into the scene a little bit. Like we'll start talking in our character, like leading into the work. And yeah, I think this, it just depends on the day, what I've got,
now you've worked
and
with
who I'm with.
You worked with Simon and Liz before, correct?
Liz Saunders?
Yeah.
Liz, actually, I had never met Liz prior to, which is so funny because she's a theater actor as well, and as was I in Toronto. And the community is, it's sizable, but it's not huge, and everybody kind of knows everybody else. So she was somebody that I was aware of, but I actually knew her husband from a cartoon that I voiced a character on, that he and I run for 3 seasons called Camp Lake Bottom, and he was amazing. I mean, have you guys met Cliff yet? Have you guys done have you met him?
We
Not
haven't.
yet.
Okay.
I don't
We
know.
should, because I love his
he's
character.
Such a great guy. Yeah. And he's got a legacy of work behind him too, that he could talk about. He's an amazing, interesting guy.
Yeah. I mean, just the way that his character and Donna interact with each other, and then knowing, there's a loving relationship behind that.
Yeah, right. Right.
Which it was a lot of fun. Just play that.
What was that, Lizzie? Sorry, I think
did
you
I
clipped
die?
out there
Did
for a
everyone
second.
else die?
No, you're fine.
I'm thinking I froze again. But so what I love about what you've brought to this character, I know I have that mug too. You guys must have tons of
shameless self-promotion here. Yeah,
absolutely.
Point. Yeah. That mug.
We don't. Yes. Were you going to ask me if we had a lot of
I have
swag?
it hanging out. I'm ready.
You have it. See, there it is.
Yeah. I have what you have.
Yeah.
Like, we're ready for this. We both have these ready to go. The moment.
Good.
So one of the things that I really have loved exploring about the character of Victor is trying to figure out who exactly he is, because he shows up and you're like, God, that's the strange guy I used to deliver a newspaper to when I was a kid. And I would just like drop the newspaper and run as fast as I could, But the thing about it, and it's like when Julie encounters him, I was like, that's a lot like when I was dropping the newspaper. But the magic of storytelling shows us that he hasn't mentally aged past like this 12-year-old boy. So
yeah, maybe so.
You're playing a 12-year-old boy in a 50-year-old guy's body.
Yeah. Yeah, or that it maybe, it's something that we keep playing with and I keep experimenting with, and they, and then each episode, and you guys will see, like, you haven't even gotten into two yet, episode two of this
Yeah.
season, that more, and, the relationships and even his connections with people, because, they sort of set it up that I was this outsider, and that I'm just really a guy that just wants his peaches and draw in his bedroom, and I don't have a lot to do with everybody else. But that's opening up a little bit. There's going to be some other connections this season. I don't want to give too much away and spoil it for you guys. Certainly, you're showing such great discipline. Bless you. He's such a beautiful character, and it's funny. I was just talking to John the other day, and and he's so great because he loves getting into all that stuff. Cracking it open and talking about it and talking about. We could just we talk about it endlessly, and I think he's created, again, like, something that's just so, it's so painful, isn't it? Again, like, every time I think, I just go back to that and think about that shot of him standing there in front of the massacres in the
Yes.
road, and the idea that, and John told me that very early on, before I even saw a script. He said this guy, was left alone in this place as a child for many, many, many years. And I thought, oh my God, so what does that mean? And I have to go in and sort of
I know.
fill in a certain amount of blanks for myself, just detail certain things for myself. We all do, in the show, because, we're not given everything all at once. We don't have certain parameters to these people, which is also really exciting, because it just means, to me, it just feels like that canvas is so broad. Like, who knows what's going to be coming with Victor,
Yeah.
And this season definitely elevates his character in terms of, I think, that part of him, like that depth of him as a human. You're going to see more of that, I think.
Well, since we're in this
Wow.
season,
'Cause-
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
There's
Sorry,
a delay.
Alex.
There's a delay. Since we're into season 2,
Yeah.
and there are a whole bunch of new characters, can you say, because Victor's world is kind of like a handful of characters. He really didn't have that much to do with with the town, and he only had a couple of people. Does Victor in this season get out more in terms of interaction with the other characters in general?
Yeah, I would think so. I think everybody does, in a way,
Okay.
because of the nature of what's, like, where we're starting. You guys saw episode 1, there's utter chaos. That's still going on. And
Right.
it's one of the beautiful aspects of the show this season is this idea that, in the world that we're living in, that the idea of all of us dealing with our fears and our inner peace in order to come together and collaborate to really get out of here, or whatever it is, or to remedy the situation, to bring us together, like forcing us to kind of deal with ourselves so we can deal with each other in a way, So even someone like Victor, it's already happening, right? Like the boy in white's sort of guiding him into this place of, like, get the mother out of this
Right.
labyrinth, or guide her here, or whatever. So yeah, that is happening, Alex. It's exciting, and I'll say this. I definitely, I have some work with people that I didn't last season, for sure.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it was.
You
that's
want him to be
awesome.
more than the guy that goes down the stairs and gets the peaches.
Yeah, although I do really still love that aspect of him too. Like I said, it was so funny to shoot the first season like that, and then leave and realize, like, I never, like Avery and I, for instance, Sarah, wonderful, actress, wonderful person. We never were even in the same. I don't even think we saw each other on set. There were just so many people that I never even connected with, just because of how it was all orchestrated in terms of the shooting and the storytelling. And even this particular season, we have new people, as you guys know. And I met some, but I still think there's maybe one person that I didn't even meet at all.
Wow.
And not for lack of trying. Again, it was just the
Yeah.
scheduling and the storytelling and the way it all works out. And then you get to the end of the season and you go, oh my God, there's still people on the show that I haven't seen. I'm really excited about, as you guys are too, about seeing how it all comes together. I'm so excited to see some of the other work. I have seen some of it, and I'll tell you, the new cast. First of all, the cast from last season, everybody, it's so amazing to watch because everybody is so on fire this season already. You probably saw it in episode 1. Like, it's so good.
Yeah.
And I think that the new
Yeah.
cast members are so good. Same thing. Like everybody that came in, the casting of these new people, the work that they're doing to be thrown into this world too. And they came in, you know, in the amidst this chaos. They're starting in episode 1 when all this chaotic stuff is going on, you know, stepping off this bus. Beautiful work by everybody. So everyone is really super excited about the show. And I last night at the party, I can tell you guys this, I wasn't there, but someone left me a message and said that Michael Wright from Epics, he got up and had mentioned to the audience that the show is number 5 on Amazon Prime right now.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, you know, in the wake of, I know, right? It's
I
like, and this is what we want, right? But it's because of people, you
Yes.
guys, and what you're doing here, all this excitement and all the beautiful work that you guys do. Let me just say this now that we're about halfway through, but I want to say, bless you. I love you guys, what you're doing. It helps. It does everything for the show. I know everybody in the show appreciates it and thinks it's wonderful. And that's what gets this whole thing going, because we really believe in this show. We know it's a good show. We know it's, you know, once people see it, like it gets its hooks in it, and it takes you on a ride.
It's not a good show. It's a great show.
It's a great show. You're right.
And
It's a great
once
show.
people know that
It's beyond that.
Yeah. Thank you
I mean,
so much.
It's
knew-
lost in
I
terms
knew
of
I had to
infection.
talk about it.
Yeah.
I
And so let me
I
ask you
saw
guys, I'm curious.
something-
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Lizzie.
I was just going to say, I just saw something phenomenal when I was watching it the first time through, and I knew I had to talk about it.
It's amazing. Yeah.
And then I
was
saw
just
her. I saw her at a convention, and then I'm like, "Listen, I'll podcast on the weather with you, Lizzie. Whatever you want to do." And then she called me up about the show. I'd never seen the show. The show had already been out. So talk about discipline. Every Friday night, my wife and I would watch the one episode. I'd podcast on it, and then right after that, we'd go watch the next episode. So I was doing it week to week while she already had saw it, because I can't, like you can't kind of talk about something in a bubble. You need to, you can't go. That's the thing. So
that's it. And bless you guys for it. I think that I wanted to know what the story was behind the two of you doing this and meeting and getting it off the ground. And so, sorry, did it happen? It happened during the release of the first season? That's when you guys started this, or did it happen when the show ended? Was it during? It was during the run.
It was after the first season ended. I was sitting on it for a while, and prior to watching the show, Alex and I had finally met in person. I was at a convention selling my books, and he came to the convention, and he just said, you know, if you ever want a podcast about something, think about me. And I'm like, it's never going to happen. I'm done. But I watched the show. And then I was just sitting on it. And one day it just occurred to me. I was like, wait a minute. This guy said he wanted a podcast. So I was like, go watch it and let me know what you think. And I think even if it had been toilet paper coming off the roll, he would have still been like, we have to podcast about it. I just want to podcast with you. But it is such an amazing piece of work that, you know, I've got this mind, like I'm an educated chemist and biologist, and it's like my whole fun thing when I was teaching in school was, you know, taking what we know about life and then extrapolating that out into the universe. And the kids and I would just sit there and be like, all right, what would it take, you know? And, you know, I'm in love with bacteria and, you know, what kind of bacteria it would have to take in order to start life here on Earth and blah, blah, blah. So I'm used to picking apart all the little pieces and the clues and like trying to put together the big picture. And that's what this show is all about.
Yes.
and it's telling this phenomenal story, and it's got all these facets. It's like a brilliant diamond in the sunlight, and you turn it and you are mesmerized at every turn. And that's
Oh,
what I love about it and why I have to talk
that's
about it.
did you hear that? That's amazing. I felt like, what is it? A beautiful diamond in the sunlight that you keep turning. That,
Yeah.
my God, is that? I almost felt like you were reading that off something. That was so good.
This is what I have to deal with all the time, Scott.
Well,
That was
She's not
so
Melanie.
yeah, I
good.
mean, now I'll write 1,000 words after we get off of this.
Oh my God,
Oh,
Liz, you
well,
gotta write that
Scott.
down. Can I use that? I'll quote you. I'll quote you. That was so good. A beautiful diamond in the sunlight.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And claim ownership.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you.
Well,
Listen,
you
I
know
agree
what?
with you
Scotty, go
completely.
tell your wife that.
I'm gonna tell my wife that as soon as I'm done. She'll love it too. That is I think I couldn't agree with you more. And I think that I am, I mean, who knows what's going on in John Griffin's mind? The whole thing behind all of I mean, it's so
Yeah.
tasty. It's so great. It's a brilliant, it's a brilliant diamond in the sunlight for us as actors,
Yeah.
certainly,
Yeah.
And season 3, we hope we get a
Oh,
word on season 3.
Yeah, because they released something and they pulled it back, and
Yeah.
that's so frustrating for everyone.
but
I can't imagine what it is for you.
Well,
yeah.
I think sure. I mean, I think that, yeah, I think, we wanted, of course, all of us wanted the show to start earlier, in February,
Yeah.
or I think that's when it started the first season.
Yeah.
Um, um, and then you hear little things here and there of whatever, and the push and the this and the that. I mean, I think, look, it's coming. It's Sunday, this
Yeah.
Sunday. Are you guys going to be there? We're going
Finally.
to do a live tweet. Yeah. Are you going to be there?
I'm gonna try.
Well, yeah, I'll be
Uh,
there.
yeah,
Oh,
try
wait a
to.
minute.
What's really exciting
Wait a
is
minute.
most
What
of the,
time is it?
yeah,
It's 9 o'clock?
9. Yeah.
Okay. I'll
Uh,
be there.
and everybody's in LA except for me. So they're going
Yeah.
to, I think a lot of them are going to try and get together for the live tweeting as well. So a bunch of them will be together doing it, which is going to be
That's awesome.
super fun as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
never tweet, but I will be there for the tweet.
Nice.
Since,
Thanks, Lizzie.
yeah, exactly. I'm podcasting at 10 on Yellow Jackets, but I will definitely
Oh,
get
yeah.
in there for the first half. Because
Yeah.
we do a live show.
Yeah.
So you've done a lot of voice acting. I mean, that's most of your career. How
Yeah.
do you kind of equate like being in front of the camera versus doing the voice acting work? Because I've heard you, I didn't realize it. I heard you for the first 3 years of my daughter's life, evidently. On Paw Patrol, on
On
this,
Paw Patrol.
on that, and that.
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
work with Simon on Paw Patrol at the same time, or
No, not at the same time. No.
Okay.
And normally with voice acting, I mean, it happens that they'll do ensemble acting, where they'll put us all together in the room and we'll play off each other. But generally, I would say I was usually, especially for that show, I was just by myself.
Okay.
As Jake, Everest's owner.
I know, it's so
yeah,
weird.
the
It's so
snowboarder.
weird.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, there's a gift that keeps on giving. That show just keeps going and going and going. It's been super popular for years. Yeah, so your question was, oh yeah, how I sort of separate the two, or if I do. I I mean, I have in the past, and I'll tell you why. I think just on the basis of, like, there are voice actors that I know who have never made the transition to stage or film, or like they're just that's their thing, and vice versa. There's lots of great actors in front of film,
Yeah.
TV, stage, who don't make the transition to voice necessarily, and that certainly doesn't diminish them as actors. They're all actors, but I think
Yeah.
that what it says to me is that there's just certain. It is different for me. I guess I just have to speak of my own experience. It's like it's a different set of tools, and you're not being seen, and I think that's one of the big things that is really liberating in a way too. Because if you could see me doing some of my voices behind the microphone, we wouldn't be here meeting today. No. But what it does do is that, and also just in that arena, depending on the kind of cartoon that I'm doing, man, that's one where you feel like you get the opportunity to really kick the lids off in that arena and let everything kind of come out, and they'll just edit it all together. In some shows, some other shows are, a little stricter in terms of, you come in and you hit the dialogue by the numbers and you record it, where, there have been some shows where they let us improvise and try things. And listen, the 12-year-old in me, which I could tie to Victor, and back here again to voice. That little guy gets to run out and come out and play every time I get behind the microphone, which is super fun. And then every now and then I get this really great thing to do. I just did it the other day, where my daughter, who's 13 now, will come running out and go, "Dad, can you do Jake in my phone for my friend?" So there's this thing where, like, I'm kind of a cool dad because I do that stuff, because with kids, it's a little bit of a tricky thing. Like and a lot of kids can be really nonplussed about actor parents, when they see you on TV that much or hear you. I mean, the joke that my wife always says is, she's like, "Honey, even when you go to Halifax and shoot from, you're still in the house. I hear you on TV, on Netflix. I hear you on some cartoon. I'm always with you."
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. And I feel really blessed to have that career, because it wasn't anything that I wouldn't say I wasn't pursuing. I mean, I was always auditioning for things, but it wasn't anything that I was putting a certain energy into in a way that I thought, I have to be a voice actor. At the beginning of my career, what happened was I was doing a lot of stage, and then I got into TV, and then I started doing some big studio pictures and smaller parts. And that was where that was going. And then I was doing a television series in Canada. And then I stopped for various reasons and didn't do any of that stuff anymore. And then all of a sudden, what was happening was voice was starting to ramp up at that time. And then before I knew it, I was on a few different cartoons. And that kind of became the profession. I just sort of lost track of time. And I'm a musician as well. So I was actually off with a band, and I was recording and making a couple records, and then voice was sort of, the beautiful thing about voice is you're not on set for 12 hours a day. So, you're working in these little pockets of time that allowed me all this other time to get up to other creative nonsense,
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's been it's a blessing. Wow. I love it. And there's a couple characters like Jake that I played that have gone on for years. There's another show that I do called Total Drama Island, which is a very popular cartoon, and one character in particular now I think I'm going on 20 years of playing this guy.
That's awesome.
And not necessarily consistently, like not all the time or every year, but they keep, I know, right? They keep bringing him in for an episode or a special, or there's a new series, and then he's and I'm so blessed to that company they're such brilliant, fun people, and we have so much fun doing it, and that's the gift that's been, that keeps on giving as well. So I was doing that while I was shooting from. I have a microphone set up in my closet, and on some days I'd go in there and do Jake when I wasn't doing Victor. Yeah.
You just talked about music, and it seems like music is a really important thing in the show. I mean,
huge,
really. What is your take on the music choices, and is there something as a viewer that we should be paying attention to? Because they do a lot of great covers, and they do a lot of just old classics. And I know you're a music guy, so I had to ask the question, music and From, what's your opinion on the way it kind of intertwines and intertwines?
It's so key, isn't it? And yet what I noticed what they do with that show, and it was actually Ian Bailey that pointed it out, plays Jim Matthews on the show.
Oh,
we
really?
were just going over, what's that?
I said, really? He does?
Oh, really? I had to do a little bit of a plug just to clarify for anyone who's here.
Wait, I think he was in a small series on HBO. I'm not really sure. He had a bit part.
Oh my God. I know. Yes. I was. He's what a beautiful guy, and he and I were in the first season. We had seen a few episodes, and we were talking, and he brought this up. He said, "There's a beautiful the music. First of all, the original music is outstanding, and the use of it. And of course, if you'll notice, like there's signature sort of things that they'll do for various characters. I noticed it right away with Victor and Ethan. Is that there was almost like a little bit of a signature music for those characters, and their quest, let's say, their quest soundtrack.
Yeah.
And what I love what they do in that show is actually is how they use it and also how they don't use it. I don't know if you've noticed that as well, but there are these great scenes that go on. Sometimes they're ramped up, they're dramatic, they're whatever they and they're not shoving music fully from top to bottom down your throat to tell you how to feel. If there's one of my biggest criticisms of the use of music in film and TV, I'm sure you guys would agree, is when the music is there, you'll feel it when it's happening sometimes, because it kind of rocks us a little bit and we go, oh, it's too much. Like, don't tell me how to feel. And yet there's these beautiful moments in this show particularly, I just think, where they've never done that. They've just done this beautiful job of, I think, of orchestrating it in a way that it really serves a great purpose in coloring those scenes in a way that sometimes we don't even notice it so much, and then really packing a punch when it is there and it is needed, and it's amazing. And I think they do a really beautiful job. But they do in all the departments, like the editing, and I even find the look of it, and and we've got this great shooter this past season, Grizz, who just did some amazing work. You guys saw it already, in episode 1. The look of the show, everything about it. I think I love seeing all of that come together. Lizzie, I know both of you sure can appreciate all of that. I don't usually see too much back on set when I'm working. I mean, this year I did it a little bit more just for a couple of things. I'd go and take a look at something right after we shot it. I don't generally want to do that too much, but to see it just in its raw place and its raw footage, just because, I get to work with all these brilliant people, and the writing, everything is just so good. That's exciting enough for me sometimes to come home with, right? And just to come home and go, oh, it's a great day. But then, I mean, I'm glad you brought that up, Alex, to see it like with the music. Well, you know what? Here's what's so great, right? We sat down, my wife and I threw in the first screener, and we watched the first episode. And here I am, like, completely forgetting they did the bit of the tease at the beginning, and then all of a sudden it goes into that great theme song by the Pixies, and it's like, and I was like, oh, we have this great theme song, which you and I, listen, we're all of a certain age. We grew up, I grew up 70s and 80s, where to me, even in the 60s, they had the best, like to me, the reason I'd even watch a show sometimes was because it had a great theme song, right? Chips, Hill Street Blues, you name it, right? That would just get you dialed right into the tone and the show. And I thought, it was so funny when when the first season came out, I don't think I knew it was going to be the Pixies until I saw it. And I think even when we saw the screeners for the first time, I don't think the theme song was in there yet. I want to say that they had a place card or something. You know what I mean? When we saw the first screeners. So I didn't really see all that come together until we saw the final, it was like the first night, the premiere episode, or I think when they premiered it on Twitter. And then I thought, oh man, and they got the Pixies to do it? Come on. It's great.
That's awesome. That's
awesome.
Dude, the Pixies are, oh my God. I saw, I'm from Boston. I saw the Pixies at the Paradise. And,
oh, come on.
10 feet away by choice from Santiago. And the mosh pit breaks out right next to me. And I'm like, I am not getting in that thing. And then Santiago breaks his guitar string and he's just going and going.
Oh, I love it.
And I'm like, the Pixies.
So
live music.
Nothing like there's lick, but then the weird thing was Doolittle was so critically acclaimed by everyone up here, and no one down here was listening to it. I'm like, Debaser? I would just play that as loud as I could and just figuratively bang my head against the wall.
I know, they're such a great band.
So amazing.
Yeah. And it's everything. That contribution. there's a story there too. Like somebody knew somebody in the band, and that they contributed this song to the show, which is it's just so great and a perfect band for the to do
Yeah.
the theme song. And the
Yeah.
other thing too is that I'm always falling over at the soundtrack of the show. Alex, you mentioned as well, like the choices of songs that they use. And this season, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but even in the first episode, do you remember the song that starts episode 1? Do you remember what it is when Boyd's ringing the bell? Don't say it.
Oh, yeah. I can hear it. I can't think of the song.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway,
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
it's that thing where you go, how did they get this music for this
I know.
show? And episode 10 of last season, I fell over as the bus was pulling up and they played Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere, Neil Young's version.
Yep.
Neil Young's song.
Yep.
I am just enamored with what they're doing with the music in this show. I think it's extraordinary.
Do you listen to something? Because I know sometimes actors listen
They've
to
got
certain
the
music.
best music ear for that.
Yeah.
Like before you go on set, do you like get
Yeah.
yourself pumped up with certain music or anything like that? Since it's so important
Yeah,
to you?
I do. Yeah, I have a pretty broad. I mean, a lot of actors do, right? You'll make up a set list, but again, like depending on the day and how I want to get in, and it usually starts pretty early, even as I'm going into to work and driving in. On the days that I'm not driving in with Catalina, there were some. I just want to say this. There was some great. Her and I had some days together. And she'd come pick me up at like 5 in the morning, and the two of us would drive to Beaverbank in the dark, and we're listening to music and talking about our day. And bless her, she's a diamond in the sun like that one. She's a really beautiful soul. But yeah, music's a big one for me. It has been. I grew up. My mother was a classical piano teacher, and so I grew up with her teaching out of the house. Music was around me all the time, and she introduced me to rock and roll, the whole thing. But so for Victor, oh yeah, I mean, there's everything from like, I mean, I go from Stravinsky to Mahler to like the Pixies to Talking Heads, all the way to Dolly Parton. I have a crazy set list for Victor that varies every season, depending on what just speaks to me or what I feel like I might need before. And it does, it helps, I mean, it does for me, because Victor has his own music, the way he speaks, the way he moves, the way, I wouldn't say that there's necessarily any one particular song or anything that can happen, but I use it. I have to. I just use it. I use it a lot in my prep too.
You remind me so much of my good friend growing up. This kid Jason Myers. He was a musician. He knew how to play 9 instruments. He was that guy, and you remind me so much of him, because it was all about, like, I went over his house, and his parents were they're crazy, but they were the best. I learned about this band from England called the Beatles, and
I never heard of them.
I mean, I think they did pretty well, but it was just like I learned more about music from him. They had a studio in the house with the different colored rug on the walls, and
that's awesome.
And you just remind me of him, because we're of the same age, and it's just like, I'm so happy that there's people like you that keep music alive, because music is so important. And when doing the research on this, I knew we had to ask about it, because I know how important it is to you and the show, and it's just awesome.
It's great, it's everything, and I'm remembering having a conversation with John when the character was first coming together. We had a meeting, and I told him about some songs I was listening to, and he immediately said, "What songs are you listening to?" And he wrote them down. So he'll listen to them as well, because he wants to know what I'm being fed with as well. Not that the songs don't necessarily land in the show, but it even helps him understand, like, we're, that collaboration of creativity that's happening, between us all. So I know something everybody takes super seriously.
That's
on
awesome.
the show. Yeah.
Totally evident. Totally evident.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. This has been the most amazing conversation.
Oh,
I have
loved it.
just
Thank you guys so
enjoyed
much.
this.
Can we do this every day?
I wish we could.
Yes.
I know.
I'm just, we need to do a month.
It's
Well,
true.
Did
you
I
know
go
what?
dead again?
No, just a little
No,
bit.
you're fine.
But my mom grew up in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're in Brooklyn and you're a Brooklyn boy, so to speak, it's just
Getting there.
hysterical. Yeah, you're getting there. I know.
I'll
You're
get
just,
there.
you
Few more
never
years.
really are. You
Yeah.
never really are until you've been on the Belt Parkway for 2 hours going 2 miles. And I
That's
know
right.
Lizzie doesn't know what that means because she's not
No,
from here, but
that's
it's
okay.
it's the worst. You
It's
see
the
Bell
worst.
Parkway, you pick up
Yeah.
your lunch, and
Yeah.
you pray to God you can get there within an hour, and you're just going 2 miles. But
It's so true.
but no, I just think
Yeah.
that I've said this about a lot of the people that we've interviewed. You
Mhm.
are all like actors, meaning not the highest stars. You're not the Ians. I know
Consummate.
he's I mean, but
Yeah.
you guys work and you work. And I
Yeah.
think that I've learned more about the business through people like you, Bob
Mhm.
Mann, a whole host,
Yeah.
everybody that read, all of you guys are just, you really do show how hard it is and how easy it is to make this show because you make it look friggin' easy.
Oh,
and
that's great, man.
and
Thank
and
you.
that's what this is all about because
Yeah.
I'm not a scary guy. I don't like scary.
Wow.
The network is all about The Walking Dead. Like we're Walking Dead focused podcast. Network.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
fits in perfectly. So when she said the podcast on this, I'm watching the first episode. I'm like, oh geez. And then all these shows are all about one thing: the family.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
the monsters are secondary.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
and I think that that's what's so amazing. And I don't know what you're doing, but whatever it is, and I say this to all the cast, just keep doing it because it's great TV.
Thanks, man.
Amazing.
That means a lot.
He
Yeah.
just-
It's
He
great.
just told us what he's doing though, but
No, but I'm just saying, like in terms
the
of the
show
whole thing.
I write. Yeah, no, I mean, I know, like, I don't know. I love horror. I don't love horror. I love writing horror. I don't like slasher films, but if it's a smart horror where I've got
Yeah.
to think about it and it's not a bunch of jump scares, I am
Yeah.
on board with that.
Yeah.
And that's what this show is, like
Yes.
I can see myself being in those little dugout holes that they were in the beginning and being terrified and listening to them, walking above
Yeah.
and even walking above on the wood and just praying that you're not the one that's going to get pulled out that night.
That's
But
right.
Victor survived there for
Mhm.
30, 40 years and grew up there.
Yeah.
And like it's not, consecutive night after night after night, 365 days times 30 or 40 years, and he's still there.
It's true. Liz is doing my work right now.
I'm
This is what I
telling you,
do all day long. I know,
it's
man.
amazing.
It's amazing, right? When you
Now,
think about
And
that.
all these other people come in and they go out, and you have the best suite in Colony House, which
Mhm.
makes me think that that's where you had been all along. And, Donna came and just
Mhm.
kind of pulled. I'm waiting to find out how that happened.
Yeah.
But, and she's only been there like a year.
A couple of years,
you
yeah,
know?
something like that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they
Um,
went from the base, they went from the holes to the houses.
Yeah.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, they've gone a long way, and I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Donna
thank
just
you both.
trying to get it across to the bus driver who's no nonsense like Donna. And Donna's like, look. And I'm just like, if you knew Donna, you'd be believing her right now. I'm like, lady, just listen to her.
I know. I was kind
Oh.
of screaming at the TV as well.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh, yeah.
like, just listen. She's the most nonsense person there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway.
It's
Oh,
beautifully done. I know. I'm so excited for this kickoff
Yeah.
on Sunday night. I think, I think for those that have been there for the ride, for people that are just joining the ride,
Yeah.
this season will not disappoint you guys. I promise you. Like,
I
I know it.
know that
I
it
just
won't
know it.
because it was such a great ride on the first season, and this one
Oh
is
man.
is
Yeah.
going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that said, any last questions, Miss Lizzie?
When can we do this again?
I know, right?
I just
So much fun. I could
honestly,
talk about it
like,
for hours.
I know, like, we just we have been so privileged to be granted the time with all of you. And, we
Thank
walk
you.
away floating because
Yeah.
it's not idolation or anything like that. It is crawling deeper into a story that we want to know more about. And, how you as actors arrive at those characters
Hmm.
and do the things that strike us as significant strike you the same way. And
Yeah.
uh you know I like, please don't take this the wrong way. Alex and I want to visit set. We will get there on our own merit. We're not asking for
Okay, I
help.
wasn't kidding about that whole Christmas thing, Scott. I'm sorry. I
We got to work it
know.
out. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, we got to work it out
But
somehow.
I was picturing during this podcast, I was picturing Alex and I as monsters. And, I kind of tower over Alex a little bit. And I just saw me in my 60s clothes with my cat eye glasses, with the little pearl strap, that goes around the
Yes.
neck, and my tweed
Yes.
coat and my handbag over my arm like the queen, and just walking.
We
And
got to work on
Alex
that,
just,
Lizzie.
yeah.
We got to work
If
on that.
you
Alex
could do
trying
that
to
for
keep up
her,
with me.
I don't know what I don't know what I could I don't know what I do because I told my friends after the junket that
Yeah.
time I talked to Harold and
Yeah.
I'm like I'm only going to do it a couple
Yeah,
times
the time.
and the time I talked to Scott and the time I talked to Ian I'm like I did it for like a couple of hours and I'm like I'm done but then I
Yeah.
said to Lizzie I called her up I'm like no these guys actually so it's all good stuff but thank you so much for taking the time I know you have a
Thank
Of
busy
you.
course.
schedule and
No, no, no. That's good. Let me just say that it's also reciprocated. That it is the reason I was nodding when you
Oh,
were saying that thing about the privilege is it's a privilege for me to be here, to be a part of something that you guys are doing, that I can contribute in some way to, satisfy some of these things that you want to know, but at the same time, be part of this collaboration that we're all doing that we're calling Fromily, right? Which is
yep.
yeah.
is something that's bigger than the show. I think itself. It's not just about a TV show. I think it's about so much more.
One of the things that we did, I don't know if I think you might know this. We did a poster contest. We did a
Oh yeah,
Victor contest,
that's right.
and
It's great.
it was great. We're gonna probably, I think we might do it again.
It's
We
great.
have to do
And
it.
yeah, and I have to tell you, people came, they brought it, and
Yeah.
you know, I know you don't do those drawings yourself. I'm assuming,
Mm.
but it's so neat how they've incorporated so many mediums in that, and everything is thought out. There's not a prop, there's not a dress that isn't there for a reason, and
The-
Oh
we
my
just
God,
can't wait to
prop
find out what
people
it's all
are
about.
the gods. Prop and set deck are the gods.
So
it's amazing.
The
And I would,
gods.
yeah, there's someone that works
Yeah.
in props that dealing with me specifically throughout the show. Her name's Jan, and she is a dream because again it's a collaborative thing. So what she does is she'll come and she'll like bring me the lunchbox and go, and sometimes she not even see what's inside. She'll go, I put this and this in here, and do you want something like this in your pocket? I was thinking maybe, do you like this, because I also have this, or whatever it is.
oh, that's amazing.
The details are astounding. And Colin, who does the drawings for Victor
Right.
too, I think I just met him last year, and
Yeah,
I
Colin.
went into, I got to go into his little sanctum and studio and see what he's chipping away at. Most he's got this big thing of crayons like this. It's like a hubcap, it's like this. And he's sitting there drawing these Victor, fascinating. Yeah, all departments, everything from everyone is outstanding on this in this whole thing. As are you guys. Thank you
They
so much for
just
all of this. All the best with the
thank
podcast,
you.
and I will promote this, of course, and anything else that you guys want to throw my way,
Oh,
and
please.
let's have a great
Oh.
season. I can't wait for you
One
guys to see it.
one last thing. Besides From, do you have anything else coming up?
Uh, well, hopefully season 3 of the show.
I
I've
just
got
didn't know
some.
if I didn't know if you were working on other things. That's what I meant.
Right now, just with the time that's left, I've been doing it's the 75th anniversary of the Actors Studio actually this year, which has been
Oh,
amazing. And
cool.
they've been doing a whole bunch of series of really great events. They did a talk back with Al Pacino after a screening of Dog Day Afternoon. They did an in process night that I was a part of, where we get up and do stuff that with our teams, other actors by ourselves, and let the public to come in and see and witness how we work in there, which has also been a really fascinating experience. So I have some stuff coming up next month that I'm doing there, that I'm also pumping on Instagram and whatever else that's just helping promote this amazing place that I'm a part of and I get to keep working at. So I'm kind of, for the next several weeks, I'll be involved with that stuff.
Well, that's awesome. And
Yeah.
thank you so much
Okay,
once
I
again.
just have one last question because it's. Oh, hold on, Alex. I just
Okay,
put on my
sorry.
glasses. What is
Oh, it's getting
what
serious.
is your favorite swear word? Yeah, what is your
Oh,
favorite
geez.
swear word?
Favorite swear word. Well, I can say this. You know what popped in my mind first, Lizzie, is my favorite English word, and this might be boring, is rummage, because I think it's a word that best describes what's happening, what you're doing.
No. Oh,
What's that? Oh, you froze, Lizzie.
It's a good.
Oh.
You got to say it again. You got to say it again, Lizzie.
no, that is a great word. That is a great word. Rummage.
That is a great word, right? My favorite swear word?
Rummage.
Oh my God. And we can say
Rummage.
anything on this?
You can say anything you want here. I'll bleep it out. Don't worry.
Yeah.
What do I say a lot of?
No,
I
you're
mean, you
not.
know what?
We're
One
in
thing
the
that I
actor
say
studio.
one thing that goes around our house a lot that we love, that we just throw out when we use it in different contexts, is balls.
Oh, you know
Which
what?
isn't, but it's not, listen,
Okay.
it's not really a swear word. It's just balls. But I use it when I'm frustrated.
No,
Balls.
but
I use it when to
Yeah.
punctuate certain sentences, to do anything. And my daughter's now, she's using it all the time too. It's great.
Balls. Yeah,
It's great.
because it's
Balls.
like, if you've really messed up, or if someone is really messed up, for me, it's barbaric fuck pig, But all right, so
That's a good one. I'm going to use that one too. Diamond
Yeah.
in the sun and barbaric fuck pig. Something.
barbaric fuck pig. Yeah. There's some real barbaric
Lizzie.
fuck pigs out there right now.
Oh my God. Yeah, there is.
But then, all right, and so then the
Mhm.
last question, and then we are
Yeah.
done for the day.
Yeah.
What is your least favorite?
My
Cut
least
out.
favorite.
You cut out. Say it again.
What is your
Lizzie.
least favorite word? Your least favorite word?
I don't like the word moist.
Oh my gosh! I did not expect that.
But that's just popped in my head. Yeah, but I've been carrying that one around for years.
Everyone hates that word.
And there's an expression that I've never been a big fan of either, but you don't hear it anymore. It's more of our parents' generation, is when people used to say, "Believe you me." Do you guys ever hear that
Believe
expression?
you me.
Absolutely, Tom.
Oh yeah.
And I was always like, that's just
You're
confusing.
gonna find yourself in next week without knowing.
Believe you me. I don't know. What are your words? What are your least favorite words?
You're fired.
I'm so used
I guess
to
depending on the
hearing
gig.
that. I work on set. Yeah, I work on set, so I hear that all the time. Anyone I work with, if they haven't been fired, you're trash. You don't
That's right.
know what you're doing. If you keep getting hired and never get fired, then you are ineffective. I work in showbiz, Scott.
I know.
I mean,
I'm
Scotty,
there. I hear you, Lizzie.
all about being fired.
Well, I need you.
Yeah,
I know you need to
that's
get
the
back
way-
to Manhattan to the actor studio, because she's going to ask you 15 more questions.
I nearly teared up at one point, which I never thought I would, on the podcast. So I thank you for that, Scotty.
Oh.
And Alex,
I'm sorry.
thank
I
you.
didn't mean to.
Well, Scotty, we want you back at the end of after the whole season ends.
Yeah.
We'd love to do a little wrap up with you
Love
and
it.
because I know you're
Seriously,
such an
Alex,
important
you can wait
character.
that long?
Yes,
You
because
can wait that. You know what?
I am patient.
I am
And
not. Scotty and I are going to be braiding each other's hair by the end of the weekend.
like Liz, like you and Liz.
Yep,
So we
like
started.
Liz, like Reed, like the other
Yeah.
Liz.
That's
like,
right.
No, her and Liz Saunders, they actually talk about movie stars. They braid each other's hair and they have pizza virtually every weekend.
I love it. I want to be there.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I have I don't know the passwords. I don't know any of it, but that's
There's
what
a
they
reason
do.
for it.
Its own secret society.
It's
Yeah.
a
Gotcha.
totally secret society, and I
Yeah.
let them do it.
Liz
Anyway.
and Liz looked so fabulous last night.
Amazing. Beautiful. Everybody did.
Oh my God.
Everybody. I couldn't. Yeah. Harold looked stunning. Everybody looked
Yeah.
amazing. Cordion. Everybody looked amazing.
Oh,
I know.
yeah.
I really wished I was there. I was sitting on Instagram, kind of trying to catch up with all the stuff that From and MGM were
Yeah.
posting, and pretending I was there. But it sounds like I heard it was an amazing night.
Well,
Great response.
so thrilled.
Everybody's really excited about the new season. So again, thank you guys for
I
everything.
am so thrilled. I'm
You
so
better-
thrilled. This is what you all deserve.
Thank you.
better
All
be
of
there
you.
for
I'm-
season 3, and I want to see you in a nice outfit, whatever that is. And you're
Oh
going to
my
be
God.
there.
You know what? He could wear John Travolta's suit in Saturday Night Fever.
That's a great idea. White,
You
the
would
black
look
shirt.
fabulous. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
And make sure
I
you
love
get
it.
your astrological medal. There you
And
go.
Bay Ridge. There's Bay Ridge for you, Alex.
It's always
Yep.
about it. You know what? No matter where you are in the world, you'll always find somebody from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
I've been all over. I've been to Greece. I've been to France. I've always met somebody that has a connection with Brooklyn, and
Amazing.
it's the most amazing place in the world. And I'm very fortunate to live where I live, and I'm just so happy that that you get to experience a little bit of that because it's awesome. This
I
area.
love
is
it
awesome.
here. Yeah,
And-
we
and-
love it here.
And but anyway, we got to go before she starts crying some more. And thank you so much, everybody. We're going to be
Thank you, guys.
pumping up for next season, which starts on Sunday almost.